the whole thing with Kurt Cobain, he had one of your shirts, I think, back in the early 90s.
Yeah, he was wearing one of my shirts on the MTV Music Awards. And then when he died, he insisted on being buried wearing a Hi, How Are You shirt. I'm joking. Sorry. Actually, sorry about that. There you go. I'm running out of jokes, though.
Well, his question was,
my question was, like, how did he get his hands on it in the first place? Because at the time you were sort of like, I guess not really like a garage artist, but like not exactly popular either.
Well, I was in the mental institution for a while, and I forget what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. Daniel's a really, really great songwriter, and typically that's recognized by other songwriters before the general public knows it. So Daniel became extremely famous with other musicians way before anyone ever heard of him. Even just out on the street of Houston, you could ask people, do you know who Daniel Johnson is? And it's not that likely that they would say yes. He's not famous in that kind of saturation way, like, you know, I don't know, Pearl Jam or something. Right. But he's very well known among other musicians and other artists.
Pearl Jam knows who he is.
Yeah, Pearl Jam knows who he is. Like, people know who Pearl Jam is, and Pearl Jam knows who he is.
right.
But I think that probably Kurt Cobain was probably given some of Daniel's tapes by other musicians that he knew and was a fan of the T-shirt. Probably from
Everett True tells a story that he gave the shirt to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a rock critic named Everett True.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Who,
Everett's writing another book on Daniel.
They just won't leave me alone. And then there's another guy making a movie about my lifetime, you know. It's crazy.
Dan, they left you alone, you fall
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
You love the attention, Dan.
Of course. Of course.
But my son wore a Daniel Johnston shirt to high school, and he said, "Oh my God, all the teachers know who this is." How are you? And he goes, "The chicks, not so much."
Dan's from
Crosses generations.
Ashley?
Were Meat Joy really as awesome as he made them sound, and does anybody know what happened?
Yes, at the time that they made that record, I was living in a warehouse with my band. Meat Joy lived in the same warehouse with us, and it wasn't like a warehouse of art spaces, it was an actual warehouse with no walls or hardly anything. And the people in Meat Joy have all gone on to play music more. As far as I know, did you ever see that television show Deadwood? John Perkins plays the store owner in that television show. He was in Meat Joy. So he kind of transitioned out of music into acting.
He goes by John Hawk now.
He goes by John Hawk now.
He's in A Perfect Storm, and
he's been in a lot of Hollywood movies. He's kind of like, you know, pretty famous actor.
Character actor.
And then the song that he was talking about, My Heart Calls Off, was written by Gretchen Phillips. And she's still performing in Austin and Houston. I mean, you can go see her sometimes. She's fantastic. She's great.
What's the name of her band?
Two Nice Girls.
She was in a band called Two Nice Girls that also got really popular. And, and now she performs under her own name, like Gretchen Phillips, or sometimes like the Gretchen Phillips Experience or something like that. And then Melissa Cobb was the lead singer, and she didn't write as much. She was a really good singer, and now she's a mom in Connecticut. And Tim Mateer also became an actor, but him and his friend John Hawk's got much more famous than Tim, and I'm pretty sure they're still friends, but I think it was probably hard for Tim because John went really far, and Tim was still acting locally. As of 5 years ago, he was still working at Zachary Scott and stuff like that. And so, was the band really great? Yeah, they were. They were very, very avant-garde and very experimental, and they had some really great songwriters, and they really liked to push the performance envelope. They used to do things like perform in the nude and probably smearing raw sausage all over each other, and they just pushed it, and they were very, very good. And the album cover that he's talking about, they made that in the house where we all lived, and we all helped. So when we were watching it, I said to Dave, I helped make those album covers at the time. And it's funny because, like, you're young. If you're just doing stuff with your friends, you kind of hope maybe someday you'll all be famous, and you're working on art and everything. But it's kind of interesting that, like, some of us actually, like Daniel, did go on to actually get kind of famous, you know.
We were all on MTV.
Yeah, a lot of us.
We were doing shows, and everybody was our age. She had the band Glass Eye, and Poison 13, Bill Anderson's band, was there. And then the Cutting Edge came to town with Carl Grasso, is that right?
Yeah, Carl Grasso.
and we were all on the show. So it was unreal. I was working at McDonald's at the time, and when I saw myself on the screen, I was just like, I was freaked out. And then I went to see her, and she had a knife, and she was bleeding. And I said, "You all right, Kathy?" I went to go see her because I wanted if she had seen it. Do you remember that?
No, not really.
It was scary, Kathy.
I gotta tell a quick story about that night. So they made this MTV special. The night it was going to be on a Sunday night, and we were at a party, Daniel, and Daniel asked if me and my friend would drive him up around campus, and it was a Sunday in the summer, and we drove around campus, and he would yell out the window, "My name's Daniel Johnson, I'm going to be on MTV tonight." Daniel wasn't even around. It was like 6 o'clock. It kind of looked like, did someone just yell at us? And so I was like, "Daniel, let's go over to Chris Gates' house and watch it. Glass Eye's going to be there, and you know, you can watch it with all your friends." And he's like, "No, I got to watch it. I have plans already." I was like, "Come on, Dan, all your friends are going to be there. Come on over." He's like, "No, I have to watch it in a certain place." So we're like, "Okay." And we dropped him off at his house, and he went and watched it at Players, which is like this really cheap burger joint right by where he lived. No one else was in there except for like a couple people watching TV, and Daniel went in and he changed the channel so it was MTV, and it was a place where he ate all the time. He wanted to watch it there, and you know, it was like, he told me this a couple days later. I was like, "Well, did any of the people even know that was you?" He's like, "No, they didn't really seem to notice." There was one old man that was mad because he was watching a Western and I changed it. Kind of a king of comedy type.
Well, this is all about what we got to talk about for the time being. But I hope in the next 10 years we can build, Kathy and Dave, I hope we can hit the big time. We could be the next Saturday Night Live or something either. Something. We got to make it big because I'm not going to, you know, our lives will be over soon. We got to be famous while the iron is still hot. So, you know, if I vote for anybody, I say, let's be the next tribe of famous people.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's probably a good place.
Oh, okay. I've got a question for Daniel again. Regarding the whole MTV thing, how did you get on there? Like, on the documentary, it said that you didn't, like, get reserved the space and you just got on there somehow.
Well, what happened was she was just talking about Melissa Cobb. She was my good friend. And they stopped by the apartment and said, "Come on, Daniel, they're having an MTV, you know, barbecue or something." So we went there, and I had my tape, and the guy was interviewing me, and I held the tape up for the camera. Nationwide.
When they interviewed my band, they asked us at the end, I think they asked all the bands, "Is there anyone else that we should, you know, that we don't know about in Austin?" And me and Chris Gage were both like, "Yes, Daniel Johnston, you got to get him." So I don't know, I don't know if he was on their radar from that or not.
I think pretty much every band
He ended up being in it more than any of the bands.
Well, pretty
Like
much
all the
because
bands
we were
are
all
being in it for
covering
like a
his
minute,
songs.
and Daniel keeps popping up in the special in all these different places and making.
Yeah, he made himself available to be filmed.
Yeah.
While the crew was in town. He made sure that he was, where they were filming, he made sure